welcome back to Final Fantasy 1 GBA Remake. Last time, started the game, went through all of the early portions of the game up to and including the Earth Cave, made my way back here to Crescent Lake and got the canoe. And now, as I was saying at the end of the last video, it's a point where the potential of sequence breaking really, well, okay, let me rephrase that. Now is where you could really sequence break the game. I mean, you could go to the Fire Volcano dungeon as hinted at earlier in the last video, or a couple other places you could potentially go now with this new canoe. Granted, I should go back and stay at the end. Is where I am going to be going now. Again, is kind of actually not kind of, but a real sequence break. Actually, when I think about it, because if you follow suggested order, you'd go to the fire dungeon first, and then another dungeon after that, before going to where I'm going next. So yeah, kind of skipping for the time being the next two suggested order dungeons, and going to this one first. So that being the case, enemy difficulty might be a thing. Give me a repel spell like Dragon Quest games, please. Keep these pipsqueak peon enemies away. Anyways. Now, the northern continents, which you still can't get off the ship and explore them yet, with one exception, now that you have the canoe. Hydra, okay. Haha, you missed. Citadel of Trials, or Castle of Ordeals in the NES original. Why he even mentions the crown item, I don't know. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't even have the Mystic Key yet to have gotten the Nitro Powder to open the TNT. You wouldn't have even been able to get to Melmond yet, let alone all the way over here. So, yeah. Anyways, warp portal panels, which at first is linear. There's only one you could possibly. Oh, these guys. A minor enemy here, or rare enemy here. Much more common in the next dungeon I'll be going through when I'm done here. They have two potential attacks. One that can paralyze your entire party if they're lucky and you're unlucky, and one that's like an insta-kill attack. So they can effectively paralyze your entire party, then one by one pick you all off. Granted, it's unlikely to happen that way, but can. And I swear on my first playthrough, I died more to this enemy than any other enemy in the entire game. Mind flayers, or sorcerers as they are originally called. I grew to hate these guys. Anyways, as I was saying, now there's two possible paths you could take. Just always use the bottom one. Kind of reminiscent to Death Mountain in Zelda 2, where whenever there was a multiple path of directions, always go right or head east in compass directions to avoid getting lost. Here, the bottom one is always the one you want to use. Of course, it took a lot of replays and drawing my own hand-drawn maps and memorizing that map to notice that. But yeah. Another one of the reasons it took so long to complete this game on the first playthrough. Kept going the wrong way and ended up going backwards. And then you have those mind flayer sorcerers and some of the other enemies you can find here. Yeah. These guys, or gals. By the way, how can there be more than one Medusa? Doesn't that go against mythology? Anyway, so much for that floor. Fixed encounter, unavoidable every time you step on this tile on the floor. Well, step on this spot, whatever. Snort. Oh, the drug references, I tell you. Don't care about that chest. Oh, these guys. I've already mentioned these guys a couple times in the first video. Originally known as the Red Gargoyle, or R Gargoyle, that could cast Fire 2 spells, massive damage to your entire party. And if all four of them did that, yeah, could be bad. Here, however, yeah. They definitely nerfed this enemy. Holy crap. It's not even funny how badly they nerfed that enemy in this version of the game. More mummies. Like we didn't see enough of them in the Earth Cave. Oh, okay. Some good gear there. Okay. Alright. What? Wait a minute. Huh? Hold on. Oh, just use it as an item, I guess. cast lightning too. And now is the point in the game where they start giving you the items like that that can cast magic spells used by anybody in your party, cast magic spells without the need for MP. You could argue it's broken, but if you're playing the NES original, good. Gets around the lack of magic in the original. Good. I'm glad it's broken if I was playing the original. Since the original itself is broken, you know, at least somewhat level it out. And here we get the item we're here for. The tail, or rat's tail. Granted, we can't use this for its intended purpose yet, but yeah. Of course, this is step one in the so-called optional side quest of the game. Getting this item. And using it is the other half of the equation, so to speak. But again, you can't do that yet. Now, to get out of here, well, it could be two of them, but since there's zombies, and harm and fire, easy defeat. Look at that experience for just one enemy. Plus, oh yeah, by the way, 1200, yeah. Triple his original HP. Yeah, no treasure dropped. Mega elixir. Frick, the original didn't even have standard elixirs, which is complete health and MP recovery for one party member. This game has mega elixirs, which is complete health and MP for the entire party. So yeah, I'm gonna get a few of those before I move on. Of course, if you want to fight them again, one step back and trigger that same battle again and again. Of course, in the NES, with the lack of magic, probably wouldn't be the best idea to do this. Of course, in the NES, there'd be no point in this anyway, other than maybe the experience points, because they didn't have item drops in the original. So. Other than maybe that crazy amount of experience for this point in the game. Yeah, again, there'd be no point in grinding here in the original. So that whole argument point is moot anyway. Alright. Well, after having defeated 121 of them. So yeah, it's a very rare item drop, obviously. 2 out of 121. But, yeah. Could have gotten a lot more, but as I was grinding there, I realized I'll be seeing this enemy again later in the game anyway, so what am I worried about? So yeah, moving on for now. To the next dungeon. Well, of course, going backwards in terms of progression. The next dungeon I'll be going to is the one you should have went to before this one, if you're following suggested order, that is. Alright. Back here again. this. I don't know why they put this, other than for the purpose I'm using it for now. Anyways, basically follow the coast, so to speak. Ignoring that for now. That just leads to Crescent Lake. Nothing to really do there right now. Go up this way. Use your canoe to get inland and from there sail upstream through a maze of rivers. Water enemies. Ice and lightning spells work great against this type of enemy, as is customary in RPGs. Now, this cave down here, that's the entrance to the bonus wind dungeon for much later. I've always thought it was funny. They put these weak enemies here to lull you into a false sense of security, thinking that this is going to be the extent of the difficulty in the dungeon we're about to enter. If only that was the case. This is arguably one of the more annoying dungeons of this entire game, and some fans I've talked to have even went as far as to say it was their choice for most annoying dungeon in the entire first half of Final Fantasy history. Well, they're right to their opinion, but while I do agree with it being one of the more annoying dungeons of this entire game, as being, for the entirety of the first half of Final Fantasy history, aka 1 through 7 or 1 through 8, that I don't know so much about. I mean, on a personal scale, yeah. Again, I started playing RPGs in 1989 with the first Dragon Warrior game. Started playing through this one in August 1990. Didn't actually complete it until July, August of 91, nearly, if not over a full year later. During that time, I played the second Dragon Warrior game. And up to this point, I was still running from battles as often as the game would allow me to do so, making my first playthrough of Dragon Warrior 2 a nightmare, as well as this dungeon. Yeah. But not willing to give up and admit defeat, so to speak, kept trying and dying and trying and dying. Finally got it through my head that I needed to level up a little bit, as tedious as grinding was in my opinion at that time. Came back after raising like 5 levels, and what a difference it made. And ever since then, yeah, I do not mind grinding anymore. In fact, nowadays I look forward to it. Partially because of this dungeon right here. I mean, where to begin? First and foremost, cockatrices are a much more common enemy here, so hopefully you have a steady supply of soft potions or gold needles, because you might need them here. Those Mind Flayer sorcerers that I saw in the last dungeon are a common enemy here, as are mages that love to use instant death rub spells that are almost guaranteed, especially in the NES original, almost guaranteed to work on at least one party member. So hopefully you have the life spell, or in this version of the game, the Phoenix Down potions, or both. So yeah. Plus, since you cannot have the exit spell yet, they milked that whole sequence again of having to repeat, in this case, repeat the last 2 floors to get the item and get out with it. So, yeah. Well, let's get going. Undead enemies, so... yeah. See what I mean? I'd be surprised if you make it to an entire playthrough through this dungeon, not seeing at least a couple of groups of Takashis. Or at least one. Or more. Yeah. If all 4 party members get petrified, it's basically a game over. So I got a lot of game overs in this dungeon, trying to run from them and getting petrified. And, This is supposed to be an ice dungeon. How come there's so many undead and not enough ice enemies? Oh, these guys again. Well, there's the item we want there, that pyramid triangle shaped item. That's the item we're here for. But obviously you can't get to it yet. You step on those cracked tiles and fall to the floor below. So we have to find another way into this room. The treasure chest on the upper right corner of it, I would avoid that, since it's a useless item and it's guarded by a very annoying group of enemies. Just to demonstrate... okay, it's only one enemy. I got lucky. Could be 2 or 3 of them. Like using instant death rub spells, so yeah. Potentially very annoying enemy. And for what? Yeah. Designer sadism. Yeah, we'll put these guys in front of this chest with only screw you. Or could be miscommunication between different departments of development. Because personally I think that's what it was. They meant to put those mages in front of this chest, because that item is actually quite useful yet. But somehow, miscommunication, you know, they thought the flame sword was in that chest, so they put the enemies there in error. I mean, it's my theory, but it's better than just assuming it's designer sadism. Anyways, look up below. More undead enemies. Again, how come there's not more ice enemies in Ice Dungeon? Now, right and down is how you, the part of the path through this floor. Optionally, you can go over this way. And I have no idea what this is supposed to be, but you lose 1 hit point per step in it. Not too tedious. 1 step up. Yeah, seriously. Why aren't there more ice enemies in this dungeon that's supposed to be ice themed? Oops, me and my big mouth. When will I learn to keep it shut? Somebody get me a roll of duct tape to wrap around my face. Ouch. Stop breathing on me. Ooh, dragon breath. Ice armor. Now you can go over to the left there and get that, open that chest, but in so doing, to get out of this room, you'll have to step back to where I am now and fight more ice dragons. Screw that. Practically killed me, almost killed me. I don't want to fight more of them yet. Not just for a potion or whatever is over there. In that one chest I left alone. No. Likewise, the path through this room floor, right and then down, or optionally go left and into this room. And lots of money in these chests, which is kind of useful because sooner or later you're going to get to a point, pretty soon actually, you're going to get to a point in the game where you have to buy a key item for either 40,000 bucks in this version of the game or 50,000 in the original. So yeah, I mean, granted, with all the grinding I've been doing, I don't need to worry about it, but normally, oh, well, the Frost Wolf can be a problem, but the Ice Gigas, just a stronger version of the Hill Gigas we saw in the Earth Cave. No ice elemental properties or attacks to worry about, just more HP. Now, one step to the right or to the east. Of course, why wouldn't you? Granted, their Ice Breath attack isn't anywhere near as devastating as the dragons, but still. Why are they always getting first attack? Really, game? I call shenanigans here. First the dragons, and secondly the first group of these guys, and now all three times they get first attack with their breath attacks. Foul, game! Anyways. Yeah. Well, normally, or originally in the NES version of the game, that was simply a potion. Again, they did not have either potions in the NES original, or the replayability of the original will be a little higher in my opinion, and I might just be playing the original right now. But no, this was just a potion. Oh goody. Seriously, what is it with the enemies getting the ambush on us? What the hell, game? Oh. Normally, without item drops from the Frost Wolves, this is where you'd be getting that shield for the first time. Anyways, once again, look out below. Now, whatever you do, do not step on any of those cracked tiles yet, or you boss battle against a very easy boss, regardless of what level you're at. And again, I think they did that intentionally because of how nightmarish it could be just to get this far. Not, much less the fact that once we get this item, we got to go through those last 2 floors to get out with it. Levistone. Much better name than the NES original Floater. Yeah, no kidding. That's what this item was called originally. A floater. Yeah. Anyways, now we repeat these last 2 floors again. And this is where I would die a lot of times on my first playthrough, which made the game over even more annoying because I knew I had to go back through the process of getting the floater Levistone again. Remoraz. I think this enemy was originally a Pede or a Great Pede, short for Centipede, of course. I think, if I recall correctly, was the original name for this enemy. I mean, again, I can't remember the original NES name for every enemy. Frick, with how long it's been since I've played it, I'm surprised I remember as much about it as I do. Primarily because of how many times I played it when I used to, from 1990 all the way to 2004. For close to 15 years, at least playing it 2 or 3 times a year, every year, so yeah. That's a lot of replays. Granted, I haven't hardly touched the original since this remake came out, like I said in the previous video. Anyways, one playthrough I will never forget to my dying day. Right where I'm now standing, got into a battle with a group of cockatrices. Petrified, game over. Talk about cursing up a blue streak. Oh my god. Every dirty word you can possibly imagine, plus some of my own profanities thrown in for good measure. Yeah. One step away. Yeah, you get the idea. Anyways, that's the ice cave. Much more annoying in the original, at least in my experience. Of course, it could be because, I'm already at level 44. I mean, suggested levels are probably like half that. I mean, at least I would imagine that plays a part in it. Drastically over-leveled for this part of the game. But I don't mind, like I said. I like being over-leveled. How many freaking random battles you have to go through in a video game, in an RPG game, why make each and every one of them more tedious than they need to be? Besides, after my hectic experiences in the ice cave on my first playthrough, yeah. Never want to go through that again. You can have your challenge playthroughs. I'll take my over-leveled ones. You play your games your way, and I'll play them mine. Over-leveled to the extreme. Anyways, of course, again, as always, if you disagree, you're not wrong. It's a matter of personal opinion either way, so there is no right or wrong answer. Just Anyway, now that you have the Levistone floater, actually, I want to check something quick. As in the first video, I made a point of showing some of the dialogue. Where was it? Over here. There's a couple people that said come back. Basically said come back and talk to me later. Basically put. Yeah, that's what I thought he was talking about. Tells you where to find her. That's what I kind of thought he was talking about, where to find that. Yeah, he's talking about the location of the ice cave. I hate when you do that, game. And he's talking about where you use the Levistone once you get it. I kind of figured that's what they were talking about, but I wasn't sure, so I wanted to come back here now just to test that theory, and yeah. Now that I have done that, satisfied my own curiosity, now to go put the Levistone floater to its intended use. Of course, this cutscene was not in the original. If I remember correctly, you know, there was just a little screen flicker, screen flash change. The airship just magically appeared out of nowhere. And yeah, that moment in Final Fantasy games that so many of them have where you get the airship. Overworld travel just got a lot quicker and more convenient, and in a lot of games there's areas you couldn't reach before that you now can, so yeah. Plus, no random battles in the air, at least not for the most part. Granted, in some games there are optional bosses that you can fight on the airship, but for the most, no. Of course, the potential annoyance, I mean, this is one of the exceptions, but a lot of times, since you can't land your airship, you can only land it in flat, grassy areas, which makes logical sense, sure, but a lot of times you don't have areas like this anywhere near where you're trying to land your airship, so you have to park it miles away and walk the rest of the way back. Which again, you know, makes logical sense. You can't land it on top of a tree. But, yeah. In a game where water is an impassable barrier, and yet lava only does 1 hit point of damage per step, what is logic? What is physics? Screw you. Let me land my airship on top of a tree, game. You break the laws of physics multiple times in this game. So yeah, let me land my airship on top of a tree. Since when did we get particular with logic and physics here, game? Anyways, now, since I've already been through the Citadel of Trials, Castle of Ordeals, and got the rat tail item, now let's put that to use. If you haven't done that yet, then go get that first, otherwise there's not much you can do up here. Oh, that's the bonus fire dungeon, never mind. I mean, you can explore some of these caves, but as far as what I'm doing, you can't do this yet until you've been through the Citadel of Trials, got the tail item. Ah! Sorry about that. but anybody who's played Final Fantasy games, I'm sure knows who he is. Luckily, in this game, he's not, there are no summoners. That didn't start until Part 3, or Part 4/2 in the North American chronology. Yeah. Where Bahamut here was like the king of the summons, but you had to fight him first to gain the ability to summon him for your summoner. And a lot of times he was almost as annoying as some of the late game. Well, he was one of the late game bosses. But anyways, yeah, that gig didn't start until later games. Here, he's just here to give you the honor to true warriors. At least that was his original dialogue in the NES version. AKA the so-called quote-unquote class change. Again, nothing, like later games, white mages aren't going to be able to learn black magic spells or vice versa. Nothing like that. No, that didn't come until Final Fantasy 3 or 5 or Dragon Quest. Yeah. But each party member, regardless of what job class they are, mages, fighters, the mages now become wizards, and the warrior now becomes a knight. Each have certain weapons and armor they couldn't equip before. Magic spells they couldn't use before, like the exit spell. Yeah. Now, common theory goes that this is just an optional side quest, and it might very well be, I'm not sure. But with the amount of weapons and armor that you can now use you couldn't before, and the magic spells like the exit spell, yeah, you're talking about extreme challenge playthroughs trying to get through this without having done this. And in the NES original, you need, spoiler alert, need the exit spell to get out of the final dungeon. So yeah, again, I don't see how this can be labeled as an optional side quest, but oh well. I think maybe the people who say that are into art, the so-called manipulation and exploits, quote unquote. But I'm not going into that. It's all in how you play your game. If that's your thing, then have at it. I'm not here to judge. You got to play your game your way and all that. Just I don't see how it's possible to go through this game without having done that. Citadel of Trials to get the tail, and then use it to get the so-called class change. Of course, now graphically we look more grown up. Anyways, before I forget, since I've been talking about, well, not so much in this video, but the last video, mentioned it several times. Give me that dang exit spell, man. No more walking 3 floors into a dungeon only to walk back out. Screw that. Oh yeah. And now the red mage can use that. Alright, of course now he's not a red mage anymore, but a red wizard. Now, one more thing I want to do out of sequence is in the northern continents. There's this town that obviously you needed the airship to get to since it's surrounded by mountains. Now, storyline wise, you're not supposed to be anywhere near this place yet, so I'm not going to talk to anybody here. For spoiler purposes. Ice 3, I definitely want that. Cure 4, Harm. Granted, the red, even as a wizard, the red mage can't use either of these. So this is where he starts to bottom out, so to speak, as far as his magic abilities go. There's only a couple level 7 spells he can use, and none of the level 8 magic spells. But ring that guards against instant death. Imagine my annoyance finding that out after completing the ice cave and all the mage rub spells, asked those earlier in video 1, that they give you this now after you've already completed the I mean, to be fair, these are still going to be useful. There's still going to be enemies that can use rub spells on you, so these will still be useful. Just, they could have been useful before the ice cave, not after. And since everybody, regardless of job class, can use them, and okay, I don't remember that being a stat increase, just the instant death protection. Oh well. Again, it's been so long since I've played the original NES version this far into it. I'm surprised I can remember as much about it as I do. There's the gauntlets. Wait a minute, hold on. Oh, the fighter knight can't use them, but the red mage. Well, that's kind of weird. Something that's red mage exclusive. Okay, well. Oh well. I want that. Actually, hold on. Go back to the armor shop. I want to check something. Yeah, that's what I thought. Buy one of those for the red wizard, red mage too. Okay. Oh yeah, by the way, look at all this. That's another reason I could never go back to the original version of the game, by the way. Inventory space, or the severe lack of it. I mean, for potions and healing items, you had a pretty decent sizable inventory, but for weapons and armor, no. Each party member only had 4 slots for weapons and 4 for armor, which by this point in the game got to be extremely tedious. You always had to drop or sell items you didn't need anymore just to make room to even open treasure chests that might have weapons in them. Yeah. So very annoying. Here you virtually have limitless inventory. So, yeah. Again, just another one of the reasons one of many reasons I could never go back to playing the original version of this game again. No matter how much nostalgia I may have for parts of it, even my nostalgia has its limits, like I've said before. Anyways. Alright, now, I could really continue to sequence break the heck out of the remainder of the game. Go start the sequence that leads to the availability of the water dungeon, bypassing the fire one for now. Go into that, get an item, and again, I could really sequence break the heck out of the remainder of the game. But for playthrough purposes, I won't. I've done enough of that kind of stuff already. So yeah, for sequence and story purposes, I'll go through the main dungeons as suggested, or in the order as suggested. Now, if you don't have the airship yet, you'd have to use your to paddle upstream like I did to get to the ice cave. Try to highlight the path you take on your canoe through the maze. get here to the fire dungeon. Oh shoot, I should have healed up. Oh well. Actually, never mind. Since I showed that path that you can take on, you now take shortcuts. Ooh, that's lava. I don't want to go through that. Wait a minute, there's no other way through here. Oh well. Yeah. One step, or one hit point per step. Yeah. And yet you can't land your airship on top of a tree? Screw you, game. If I can walk on lava, I want to land my airship on a tree. Going on in my way a little bit here. Get up here. For another one of those. King-sized worm, holy crap. Okay, I don't remember there being a stat difference in the original, but okay. Optionally, you can go this way. I might want to heal up a little bit before taking one step to the right there. Ooh. Ooh, good. Get him before he can barbecue us. Just out of curiosity. He doesn't have any item drops, okay? Unlike the zombie dragon earlier. Alright. Besides, it wouldn't be a good idea to grind him well. I mean, in this version of the game, you know, yeah, since you have a lot more MP, but in the original, no. Especially if you didn't have the exit spell yet. Grinding here wouldn't be a good idea because you're a long way away from the entrance exit to this place. I mean, if you have the exit spell, then maybe yes. But if you're playing the game in normal sequential order, you wouldn't even have the airship yet. Anyways, the second major boss of the game. Merilith, your name was your name was Kary, K-A-R-Y in the original. Of course, that's probably one of them their mistranslations, or character limitation, name character limitations. They couldn't spell out Merilith originally. I don't know. The only boss that has a different name between the NES original and this remake. There's a lot of enemies that do, but she's the only boss that does. Well, actually, there is one more optional boss that, well, more about that much later. Anyways. Well, Ice 3, but yeah, first of all, you'd have to have been through that whole scenario to get through the ice cave to get the floater. The guy had the airship to even have Ice 3 yet. And then on top of that, in the NES original, you had to be at level 20 to use level 7 magic spells, or in this version of the game, level 33, so yeah. Most people in their disposition towards level grinding probably would be nowhere near that point yet. But you know what? At the risk of sounding like a jerk, that's your problem. You want to make things more difficult, have at it. You play your game your way and I'll play it my way. Anyways, 2 of 4, halfway there, and I already unintentionally shown the exit or entrance to that place from the overworld world map up there in that chain of islands that Bahamut's cave is. Cardia Islands, as they were called originally. Alright. Well, now is the point in the game where if you haven't already been through the ice cave to get the Levistone floater and use it to get the airship, now is the point in the game where you're going to have to do that. Because you're going to need the airship from here on out. Not that anybody watching the finished video is going to know. I mean, there'll probably be a slight loop there where the audio fades out as I'm re-registering or restarting the program here. And starting to doze off during random battles. Anyways, now, since you're actually supposed to be here now, story-wise, of course, again, if you didn't already go through and get the airship, obviously you're going to need it now. So the ice cave would be your next destination if you hadn't done that already. Oh yeah, there's that. Eye of the Hawk. About that. First of all, there's the Power Peninsula. And land you can barely see from the northern tip of it. There's that town the person was just talking about. But again, there's nowhere to park your airship anywhere near this place. And that would have been a somewhat decent quality of life upgrade. Let you park your airship closer to town here, so you didn't have to walk so far. Or frick, like I said in the like I said earlier before my break, such you can walk on lava having only one hit point of damage. They obviously don't care about reality and physics, so why can't I just land my airship on top of a tree? Yes, in real life you couldn't do that, but again, in real life you couldn't walk on lava either, so obviously they don't care about real life physics. Or lava would be the impassable barrier, not water. Water might slow you down like Samus in the Metroid game without the gravity suit. Of course. By the way, for those who want, to fill up your bestiary with the so-called rare enemies, there's one of them around here that you might be able to get a battle with. Just grind here long enough, or get lucky and get it right away. I mean, I'm not going to bother with it, because I don't really care, since I'm not going to be getting 100% bestiary in this game anyway, since the last like 60 so enemies are just in the bonus dungeons that I'm not touching on this playthrough. But yeah. This guy. Just to show his entry quick. Yeah. See, this is why I'm not going to worry about getting all the rare enemies. Maybe when and if I ever do a playthrough of the bonus dungeons of this version of the game. But from enemy number 129 here all the way down to the bottom, those are all enemies exclusive to the bonus dungeons that I'm not even going to be seeing, let alone fighting on this playthrough. Most I'll get is like a 66 or 67% bestiary, fighting only the original game enemies, or main game enemies. Where is that? Well, where is he on this list? There he is. Yeah. Not much improved over the other dinosaur from the Power Peninsula. So yeah, it's something to notice if, again, you're after all the rare enemies of the game. Which again, I might be doing if I ever do get around to playing through the bonus dungeons. Some of them do have some interesting puzzles and scenarios. The idea that you can't use the exit spell to get out, and the fact that each of them have multiple bosses that you have to fight through the entire dungeon at least 2 or 3 times for to fight all of them. Just do not make me look forward to playing through the bonus dungeons. Go in there, you make your way down to the bottom floor or whatever it is, fight a boss, but as you enter the room, the door locks behind you, like a Zelda game. Only in a Zelda game, once you beat the boss, the door unlocks again and you can leave the dungeon the way you came in if you want to, at least most Zelda games. In these bonus dungeons in this game, you cannot. The door stays locked and you can't get out. The only way you can get out is by the warp panel that's also in there, which warps you not out of that room, which would have been a nice touch to just warp you out of that room and let you go to one of the other boss rooms. No, warps you out of the dungeon entirely. So you gotta go through the entire thing to get back there and try one of the other bosses. Stupid, dumb, idiotic, moronic. What brainiac thought of that? Can't tell me limitations of the hardware that some people like to use to defend older games. In some cases that was the case, you know. You can only do so much with the hardware you're working on, sure. But you're not going to tell me they couldn't have you exit, have you let you out of that room on a Game Boy Advance game. I mean, yes, again with emphasis, sometimes that limitations of the hardware argument does hold ground. Like Metroid 2, Game Boy Advance original, or Game Boy Color, or Game Boy original, like a Game Boy Advance. Metroid 2 on the original Game Boy in the early 90s. Was a good game for what it was. Could have been even better on the SNES, but they insisted on putting it on the Game Boy, and they wanted a big name franchise. Well, bigger name franchise than what the Game Boy was getting up until then. Anyways, what? Lupa Gamido? Oh, goody. Sorry, dude. I don't speak your language. Yeah, we have a little bit of a language barrier here. Strangely enough, though. Actually, hold on. I want to check something quick. Okay. Oh, don't start that crap. God dang it, game. I hate when these NPC sprites get in the way like that. At least in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, you can jump over them. Yeah. Even this guy, who you'll have to talk to later to get an item from. Since you can't understand him, doesn't give you the item, I guess. Which does, you know, does put a little bit of a damper on the amount of sequence breaking you can do, since you need the item from him to complete the game. That area where you need that item from him you can't get to yet, so yeah. Again, it does put a little bit of limitations on the sequence breaking that I mentioned earlier, but strangely enough, yeah, these people still speak English, or at least enough to sell you their magic spells, full life, which, you know, yeah, even in this version of the game can still be useful. You have Phoenix Down potions and you have the standard life spell, but it only revives a dead party member to 1 hit point. This life 2, or full life, yeah. Of course you have to have, I think you have to have both the class, right? Yeah, I think you have to have both the class change with Bahamut done already, and be at an experience level 25 in the original version of the game, or experience level 42 in this version, to even be able to use level 8 spells. You know, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah. A wizard, not a mage. A wizard from the class change with Bahamut, going to the Citadel Trials and getting Tail and bring it to Bahamut to get honored, aka the class change, the so-called optional side quest. You have to have been able to you have to have done that to be able to use this. This spell is not required, no. But in some of the later boss fights, it can very well be useful. Revive a party member to full health instead of just 1 hit point. Same with this, the most powerful attack spell in the game. And again, only a wizard, not a mage, a wizard after the class change can use this. So yeah, tell me again how that whole thing with Bahamut is just an optional side quest. I'm all ears. Tell me again. Yeah, if you want to use RNG manipulation, well, dare I say cheat your way through the game, maybe it's optional, yeah. And with all due respect, I mean, that's fine to a point, yes. But to another point, with all due respect to my fellow gamers, you should be ashamed of yourself cheating a game like that. I mean, come on. Have you no gamer pride? Or however you want to put that, played games as they're meant to be played? I mean, I know that's going to spark a dozen dirty comments in the comments, fine. To quote Pat Benatar, hit me with your best shot. If I cared, I wouldn't have said it. You got to play your games your way, yes. But at what point are you going to play the games legitimately, the way they're meant to be played, without RNG manipulation? Speedrunners, or cheat runners as I call them. Again, I know that's going to spark a dozen angry comments, a dozen hundred angry comments. Fine, be angry. I gotta be honest here. From what I've seen, speedrunning equals cheat running. I have yet to see a legit speedrunning that doesn't rely too heavily on the manipulation. Anyways, enough said on that. Just point being, that whole side quest, so-called side quest with Bahamut, the Rat's Tail, isn't so optional if you really want to be able to use all of the best weapons and armor and magic spells. And not rely on the RNG manipulation cheat kind of stuff. Again, to a point, that's all fine and well. But anyways, enough said on that. Moving on. These enemies are nothing now. When you first started fighting in the Power Peninsula, if you did at all, they were quite tedious back then. A couple shots would have killed you probably. A couple of their hits, I meant to say. It'd probably be game over for one of your party members at least. Especially since they always seem to have a tendency of hitting your mages. Their weak armor. At least for me anyways, I don't know. That's that place. Of course, I'll have to go through that whole process one more time later in the game to get that item from that one person I pointed out. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the town that he was talking about. Or maybe not. Yeah, the wing of the hawk. Yeah, I saw that. Alright. So you got the level 7 magic spells. Quickly go get the level 8 magic spells or what's in here. Of course, level 7 magic spells are split up between this town and one other town. And level 8 magic spells are split up between the town I was just in and this one. Yeah. I don't know why, but for some reason they split up level 7 and 8 magic spells between two different towns, where all of the previous 6 levels were all in one town. Whether it was Melmond or Elfheim or Crescent Lake. Anyways, there's that spell. I don't know what it was originally called, but it wasn't Warp. Originally that was the teleport spell that was called Warp. And like I said back then, if they insisted on having a spell called Warp, why not just leave the one that already had that name alone? Anyways, don't really care about them. Most of them are instant death spells that never worked in the original anyway. Bugged and glitchy. If they did work, you know, it was very seldomly because enemies were resistant to them. Holy, or Fade, F-A-D-E originally. White magic attack spell that only a white wizard after the class change can use. As you see there, the column there. So again, tell me how that thing with Bahamut is an optional side quest. Anyways, I'm not getting into that argument again. I said my piece on that bit already, so. What? Wait a minute. Hold on. Did I get one of those from somebody? Oh, what did I didn't equip his, obviously. Okay. Okay, equipped all. Got both of the ice swords equipped. Didn't equip the flame mail on him because stat-wise it wasn't any different than what I already have. Just elemental properties, which I don't even know if they worked originally, those elemental defense properties. Okay. Alright, now let's get back to talking to people. Don't know. What spring? Oh yeah, by the way, yeah. In the NES original version of the game, to get to those level 8 magic shops, you had to go through this way. Since this clearing in the woods here was not there, you couldn't just go up there like, yeah. I don't know why they put that here. Again, out of all of the so-called quote-unquote quality of life upgrades they could have given, why this? I mean, this, were people, I mean, what? Were people actually complaining that you had to walk around and take the slightly longer way to get up here? I mean, were people actually complaining about this? Holy crap, I know gamers sometimes like to complain about the stupidest things, but really? Anyways. Fenian, yeah, that's the name of the language they speak down there in that town just north of the Power Peninsula. And this guy, he's lucky the game will not let me hurt him. Are you listening to this? Are you catching this? Let it stay on screen a little longer. See? Again, this guy is lucky the game won't let me hurt him. Yeah. Dude, you have no idea how lucky you are. Count thy blessings, dude. If the game would let me, I would hurt you. Not just for catching the fairy, but for being such a jerk about it. Like, I did it, what's it to you? Yeah. His attitude alone knocked the smug out of him. Or however you want to put that. Anyways, yeah. There's supposed to be a fairy here, so gotta go find her. To do that, we head to the last town, the town I have yet to be in, yet to go to yet. Over this way. And again, since there's nowhere to park your airship anywhere near here, because of the one time the designers decided to get realistic and now let you park on top of a tree. Not quite as bad as the last town, or the foreign language with the Finn. But still, you know, you gotta park your airship quite a distance away and walk the rest of the way. You know, and again, I'm sorry, I know I digress on that, but that just bugs me. Out of all the times they decide to somewhat attempt to get realistic, why, you know, when it becomes annoying, why not with the lava? Of course, that would have been realistic, or potentially been annoying too, because you would have had to find another way around or something. Get an item like the gravity suit in Sam or Metroid games, protection against. Well, actually, if you're thinking about it historically, again, this game was made in 1987. The only Metroid game that existed at that point was the first one. The Varia suit didn't even have that property until Super Metroid in 1994. I mean, today you look at Metroid games ever since Super Metroid, and yeah, the gravity suit is... Well, actually, the Varia suit is superheated hot room protection. The gravity suit is usually for lava, so you can walk and swim in lava, which is still real, but still, yeah. Anyways. What? So what? We all have legs. Really? There's something odd about this person. Even animals have legs. So what? Okay, let me out of here. Oh yeah? Okay. The last of the other half of the level 7 magic spells, out of which I only want one. This always bugs me too. Why is this defense against instant death spells available now that you already have the protect rings? I mean, should this have been available like a level 5 magic spell in Melmond, or at the very least a level 6 magic spell in Crescent Lake? Something that you could have had before the Ice Cave? You know, why now that you're, again, why now that you already got the protect rings that do the same thing without the magic spell points needed? I mean, it's just kind of stupid. Anyways, yeah. Heal 3. Massive health recovery for the entire party. The only level 7 spell here that I really care about. These two either didn't work or they weren't working in my opinion. I don't even know what they do. Oh, okay. Actually, let's see. Raises it. Oh, just the caster's attacking. No big deal. The black mage. I mean, now that he has that cat claw item, he's going to have some pretty good melee fighting skills. Raising his attack doesn't seem now that... Yeah, raising, no big deal. Okay, what do you say? Another... What is it with legs in this town? Should I be playing the ZZ Top song, She's Got Legs? What? What do you want? Oh yeah, okay. If you came here before doing that, he basically suggests that you go meet Bahamut or something to that effect. I forget the exact word used. Well, here we go again. Drawing whatever of NPCs getting in the way. Mermaids? Who said anything about mermaid? Oh. Okay, I get it now. That's why that one person is so obsessed about her legs. Like, well, the old legends of mermaids. Like Daryl Hannah in Splash, 1984. A mermaid out of water suddenly has human legs, losing her fins. Oh, bocce balls! Oh, what a week I'm having. No, there's no one here, just me and the moron twins. We're not twins. Oh, come on. Well, actually, I guess I can't assume everybody's seen that movie since, 1984. That movie's older than a lot of people today are, so, yeah. Again, I shouldn't assume everybody's seen the movie, but... Or even that everybody that has actually likes it. Now, I do not remember this dialogue being this specific in the original. I mean, if it was, then I really am an idiot. By the forest near the north of the desert. Yeah. Again, I do not remember these directions being that specific in the original. Yeah. This was the original dialogue from that person. My father runs a caravan. He's having a closeout sale near the Oasis in the Western. Okay, it is a little more specific than I remember. I'm just a moron then, I guess. I mean, you're going to be laughing at my stupidity in a couple minutes anyways when I show you what I'm talking about here. Frickin', and it's okay to do so. I laugh at myself in retrospect, hindsight. What they're talking about here is one of the several delays and one of the reasons why it took me so long to complete the game on my first full playthrough. It took me an eternity to find this place, much to my shame and disbelief nowadays looking back at it. Yeah. So we're pretty much done here. I mean, there is one other person I didn't talk to somewhere. I think it's him. Yeah. A shining object fall out of the sky. This is hinting at something you could do now, but at this point it's somewhat out of sequence, so to speak. And I've already done enough sequence breaking on this playthrough, so I'll deal with this a little later. for now, things pertaining to this scenario. Okay. That's what the area looked like in the NES original. Yeah. And in this remake, still just as blatantly obvious. How I missed this place for as long as I did is both laughable and pathetic. I mean, how obvious does it have to be? Obviously, the me of 1991 was butt blind and stupid. And it's okay to laugh. I laugh at myself every time I think of this. How long it took to find this when it was right there in front of my fat face, as the old expression goes. As it is, I only found it by sheer accident of level grinding in the area, since there's enemies that, or I was trying to see if there were any enemies, as I recall, that were worth grinding for. And I just happened to stumble onto it, literally. Oh, now I find it, now that I'm not even looking for it. Yeah. Yeah, again, feel like an idiot every time. It's like that triple I rock thing in Zelda 2. Blatantly obvious to anyone else but me that there's some secret there. Yeah. Anyways. Bottle Fairy. Well, at least here it's more specific. In the original, it was just simply a bottle for 50,000 bucks. I get here, finally finding the place. What? 50,000 bucks for a bottle? Are you crazy? Screw you, I'm not buying it. And I didn't. For quite a while. Searched every inch of the world map I had access to. Not being able to make any forward progress, which is another one of the reasons it took me as long as it did to complete the game on my first full playthrough. After, well, I don't remember exactly how long, but weeks maybe, I don't know. But yeah. Of not being able to get anywhere, I said, okay, maybe I do need this silly item. That's why it's so high priced. Saved up to 50,000 bucks and bought it. Yeah. But yeah, this is the item I was talking about when I was in the ice cave earlier. That you are going to need this item. Yeah, between the time it took to find that oasis in the first place, which if I wasn't such a moron would have been visible from the beginning, and not realizing the bottle was a crucial plot point item. One of the several reasons it took so long to complete the game. Back in the day. Approximately a full year. Anyways, now we go back here. Of course, this was not in the original NES version. Entering the town would be no different than any other time. I don't know why they decided to add that. Guess maybe unless you maybe thinking you might have found that bottle by accident, not just exploring, not realizing what it did or what it was for. So now they're showing you, I guess, I don't know. Anyways, In the original, that fairy was not there yet. You had to go up next to the lake or pool. Items, key items, and bottle, which would have still been here in your list of items. Yeah. Hit the A button next to it, and there you go. Like using the earth rod in the earth cave. Then the fairy would be here. Yeah, understandable. Okay, what is this? Oxyale. Judging from the last 3 letters of the name, it's some kind of drink. Ale, brew, beverage, ale. Some kind of a drink. Ginger ale. Or something along those lines, anyway. Okay. Alright, whatever that is. Now, back to the town of Onrak, which again, if you're looking at a screen cap map image of the world, we're in the upper left, upper right / northeast corner of the world map right now. Around the world, now we're in the upper left, northwest corner of the world map. So yeah, again, like I said in the last video, it kind of bugs me that they could do the map grouping around east to west or north to south in older games like this, but in a game of the last 5 years like Breath of the Wild, you can go too far in either of the 4 main compass directions and reach a dead end where the game actually tells you you can't go any further in that direction. WTF. If they could have infinite loops in old games, why not in new games? Like I said before, you know, again, it's just something that bugs me. Anyways. Speaking of things that bug, potentially speaking, you the viewer, I'm sorry if me using the fast forward option in random battles gets annoying, but again, you know, trying to speed up this video. Sorry. So yeah, trying to speed up the video by minimizing how many times I show how many different battles, how many battles I show with the same enemies over and over again. Come on, dude, get out of the way. By the way, another person talking about the shining object they saw fall. Again, that's hinting at an item for later. Could get that item right now if you really wanted to, but yeah. Again, I'll wait until after the... Yeah. I'll wait until after the next dungeon. Again, I've already done enough sequence breaking for this playthrough. I don't know about mermaids, but okay. No. Never mind, I was going to say something, but that's a spoiler for someone who hasn't played that game yet. One such person who's streaming games of that series that I've been watching a lot of hasn't gotten that far. Yeah. I was going to say she just disappeared, like another character in the Dragon Quest game. And then specifically imply which one I'm talking about and in which game. Anyways, so that ale, which again, A-L-E, drink, ginger ale, a drink lets you breathe underwater. I mean, I know it's only a video game, like I said earlier about the sleeping prince for 5 years and all that. It's only a video game, but still, this is you know, if you want to nitpick reality in video games, this is as laughable as the Zora tunic in Ocarina of Time. Great game, in my opinion, the greatest game ever made in the entire history of video games. But still, a shirt, basically, a tunic, a shirt that lets you breathe underwater. Yeah. Here we have something you drink that does the same thing. And yet they won't let you land an airship on top of trees. Screw you, developers, since when do you care about reality? The fact that we're here after drinking something is proof that you care nothing about reality in your game, which is okay, it's only a video game, but still. Don't be pulling like this and then suddenly getting ultra realistic everywhere else. Well, too late, they obviously did, you know, over 35 years ago now. But anyways, yeah, this third floor, this dungeon is laid out a little differently. Usually you start at the top floor of a cave, dungeon, and work your way deeper underground each floor, or like vice versa. Start at the bottom floor of a tower and climb your way up said tower. But here, you're in the middle. There's 2 floors above that lead to the next key item, and several others along the way. And the 2 floors below that lead to the boss of the dungeon. So yeah, kind of weird how this one is laid out. I mean, I guess if you really want to look at it, well, again, this game was made in 1987, released in Ocarina of Time. The first dungeon in the game is kind of the same. The Deku Tree dungeon is you enter it from ground level. There's a couple floors below that you can only get to later, and there's a couple floors above, so yeah, I guess. But of course, this game predates Ocarina of Time by over a decade if you look at it by release dates. Well, 8 years if you're looking at it from North American release date perspective, 1990 to 1998. But that really don't count because by the time this game was released in America, Japanese gamers already had Final Fantasy 2 and 3 both. So, yeah. Correct, by the time this was released in North America, they were already beginning development on Final Fantasy 4 for the SNES. This game was already a distant memory to them by that time. Anyways, another way in which this game breaks the laws of physics. Fire spells underwater. Yeah, we can't land our airship. Never mind, I've been there before, but yeah, you get the idea. So many ways this game breaks the laws of physics, yet they won't let you land your airship on trees, which, anyways, I digress again. Just something that used to bug me every time I'd have to make that trip to the Fin to get the key item, you know, or go there to get the level 8 magic spells as I did earlier in this video. Every step of the way, every random battle of the way, you know, kind of things I'd be thinking about, you know. Sure. You'll let me walk in lava, red hot molten lava. You'll let a drink, you know, but you won't let me land my airship right next to this town. Yeah. Again, sorry for the digression. Just things I'm always thinking about every time making that trip, as I will be later in this video again. In the meantime, diamond armor, or opal, O-P-A-L, in the NES original. Something that only a white wizard, or not even a wizard, rather, the knight, the hero, the main character, Cloud, you know, there really isn't no main character in this game. Something only the knight, warrior, after the class change can equip. Making another strong statement against the idea that the class change idea is an optional side quest. Yeah. One of the pieces of armor you won't be able to equip without having done so. I'm still quite over leveled to this before this point in the game, so any strategy really goes out the window anyways. Besides that, even if I wasn't, random battles I usually try, other than maybe what magic spells to use, I don't get that strategic anyways. It's just a common everyday random battle, not a boss fight. Light axe. Another one of those items. Yeah, cast a magic spell when used as an item in battle. Again, like the gauntlets. Did I already sell them? Or no, there they are. Again, this is where they start giving you those items, which in the NES original was divine. Great way to get around the shortage of magic spell charge points. Granted, Harm 2 Daira, as they call it in this version of the game, was only useful against the undead enemies, but still. There's the ghosts in this dungeon. I think there's a couple undead enemies in the next one and in the final dungeons. This one is even more useful. Mage Staff, Cast Fire 2 when used as an item. So again, yeah. Finding items like this was so good in the original, especially where magic was so short supplied anyways. Not so much so in this version of the game where look at that, 581 mag, 736. Plenty of magic to go around in this version of the game, but in the original, oh god. This was the point where you could start flipping the middle finger to the developers with that stupid magic spell charge idea. Limiting your magic supply. Difficult for the wrong reasons, like I said in the first video. Flip you the middle finger, developers. I can get around your stupid idea now. Opal bracelet, or at least that's what it was originally called. Hey, want to talk to you? Huh. Okay, that sounds familiar. I've seen that happen in a video game before, more recently. Yeah? Assuming she's talking about the one back in town that was like, oh, I have legs, aren't they wonderful? I assume she's talking about her. And if so, then yeah, she's fine. A little too obsessed with her newfound legs, but I... Anyways, if you look at this floor on a screen cap map image, we're in the upper left corner. Follow the path between these two buildings. And at some point along here, you're now in the upper right corner, map loop, to this room that you couldn't get to any other way than that. Okay. And here we have the next key item. Again, they gave it a better name than slab, as it was originally called. Slab of what? Slab of beef? Yeah. Here they gave it a name more fitting to what its purpose will be. And again, I could exit out the dungeon and go do that now. And continue, resume sequence breaking the rest of the game. But no, I'm going to finish what I started here first. Not that I have to, but... And there have been a lot of playthroughs where I did do that. Went here just long enough to get that slab Rosetta Stone and then leave. Come on, get out of my way! Do you frickin' mind? shield. Well, at least for base defense points, that's as good as he's going to get through armor and equipment. At least in the main game. Yes, in the bonus dungeons, there's better armor, you know, but that's just that, bonus dungeons. Areas and items that weren't there originally. This playthrough will be only focusing on the original game content. If I ever do a playthrough of the bonus dungeons, I'll worry about that then. But for now, as far as original game content goes, again, that's as good as it gets for him, for armor gear. I mean, there is a shield that has a certain elemental property of sorts. Likewise, an armor that, but as far as base defense, anyways, that's all we can do here. Luckily, you have the exit spell now, so you don't have to walk 3 floors back out again. Yeah, they stopped milking the crap out of that gimmick. Unless you forgot to get the exit spell like I have on some playthroughs, get all the way to this point and then only then realize, ah crap, and have to walk back out anyways. And cursing at myself. Again, using every dirty word known to man for my stupidity and Alright, now we go back to the Sea Shrine. Or Sunken Shrine, depending on what version of the game you're playing. And this time work our way down the lower floors into the boss battle. Actually, I should have used it. Oh well, too late now. I was going to say I should have used a lightning or ice spell to make this battle a little quicker, but again, too late now. Oh yeah, by the way, speaking of magic spells, note... Is that even showing up? Yeah, okay. Cloud, the fighter, knight, now has magic points. Yeah, another thing with the class change. Certain party members, like the knight, I think the monk, I'm not sure, I never really looked into the other job classes, but after the job class change, learn certain magic, or have the capability of learning certain magic spells. In the warrior, now knight's case, levels 1, 2, and 3 white magic spells, which ain't too incredibly useful. I mean, it's kind of nice to have another party member that can use heal spells, but only Cure 1 and Cure 2 as far as heal spells go. Not too useful. I mean, it can help, I suppose, but nothing to really get overly enthusiastic about. Oh, this. What the hell, developers? Is this some idea of sick humor? Sick, twisted, sadistic humor? Luckily, it's just right there, you know, not really too sadistic since it's right there plainly in your path that you have to go through to get through this dungeon, but still, $110 at this point in the game. What the hell are you going to do with that? That's not even enough to cover infare around here. Let alone buy any of the weapons or armor or magic spells you may have left to purchase. I mean, That would have been useful at the start of the game, maybe, when things were a lot cheaper, but now that chest might as well have been empty. Or a little note, gotcha sucker, or something like that, you know. Haha, made you look. Yeah. Or frick, like later RPGs or Dragon Quest games. Have it be a mimic if they really wanted to be sadistic. Of course, there are no mimics in Final Fantasy that I'm aware of anyways. Alright, there is one item, at least one item on this floor that I want. That, judging by name alone, without any kind of description as to what it does for you, I got it and I'm like, what the heck do I need this item for? Get rid of it. Which, to my stupidity, I did, only to regret it once I realized what it does, what its purpose is. Yeah, a ribbon. What the hell do I need a ribbon for? Get rid of it. Cluttering up my already limited inventory space. Stupid me. Of course, that dialogue, that description is a little misleading. It doesn't completely eliminate the effect of special attacks like the Frost Wolves and Frost Dragon's Ice Breath attack that you saw in the Ice Cave. Doesn't completely eliminate that damage, just reduces it by half like the Null Frost spell would. Only this is much better because you don't have to cast the spell using magic points and have that thing I mentioned earlier where from the time you select the spell to the time it's actually cast, the wolves or the dragons have already breathed on you anyways. Here that's not going to be a problem because it happens automatics. Yeah. Granted, it's not as useful as Ribbon would be in Final Fantasy V or Final Fantasy VII, where it's complete resistance to almost every status ailment in the game, sleep, paralysis, everything but instant death. So it's not as useful as that, but still. Yeah. Of course, in the base game, there's only 3 ribbons, meaning one party member is going to have to go without. For me, that was always the Knight because he has more hit points and better defense and stronger armor than everybody else anyway. You know, he could take a few more hits. Of course, yes, again, I know there's a 4th ribbon in one of the bonus dungeons somewhere, but that's just that, bonus game content. Or bonus content. Only for this remake, or again, maybe the PSP version as well, but not there originally. Sorry, I don't know how long that cursor was on the screen there just now. Sorry about that. I mean, I wanted to capture the cursor in case I want to point out something like I did with the magic. Otherwise, I could sit here pointing at my screen with my hand, but nobody would be able to see me since I don't have a webcam. Be like, what are you pointing at? I can't see. Oh shoot, did it again. Whoa, holy crap. Whirlpool. Okay. Alright. The third major boss of the game. Of course, he can hit for a ton of damage. Don't necessarily have any special attacks, magic based or anything like that. Again, just hits for a ton of damage, especially if he hits your under armored white or black mage. Well, of course, it had to be an aquatic creature since we're underwater, naturally. Yep, I think I can do it. Think so? I wouldn't bet too heavily on that. Again, Ice 3 if you have it, but again, given a lot of people disposition towards level grinding and hatred for it, you probably wouldn't have Ice 3 capabilities yet since you had to be at level 20 in the original version of the game, or 33 here. But then again, I don't know. By this point in the game, level 33 isn't such a stretch. I mean, it's almost kind of, well, maybe not never required, but kind of a good idea. But anyways, yeah. Oh well. Actually, I want to test the theory anyway. Remembering that just did 390 damage. Ice, or Lightning 3, rather. Okay, Lightning 3 is actually better anyway. Never mind what I was just talking about. I would have thought it's the other way around since Lightning 3 is a level, I guess, magic tier level don't matter. Elemental properties, I guess, we're underwater. Well, of course, if we're underwater and we're using lightning spells, aren't we getting shocked too? Again, video game physics, or lack thereof, video game logic. Could use Flare, but that definitely would be a spell that most people wouldn't have at this point, since you had to be at level 25 in the NES version of the game and level 42 here. Plus, you had to have done the class change. Having a black wizard, black mage wouldn't do. Again, oh well. Ah, shoot, there goes. No, don't kill him. Don't finish him. Oh, great, there goes my leveling up synchronicity. Damn it! Oh well, made it this far with that. He's going to be 1,500 or whatever points it was behind everybody else now. Oh well, that ain't too bad. I mean, by this point in the game, we need like 10, 20,000 points for level ups anyway, so. Anyways, 3 down, 1 to go. And as of right now, you can't get anywhere near the 4th main elemental dungeon yet. Need to get a couple items first. Oh, I can go in there now if I wanted to. Yep. So much for the leveling up synchronicity. Oh well. Again, I made it this far. I mean, if I'd saved my game more recently, I'd just reset. But, yeah, that's kind of stupid too. Anyway, so much for the water dungeon. Now, people in Onrak there said something about seeing something fall from the sky, looking metallic, falling near a cave. Could it, like I said, could have done that before you even went to the water dungeon, before you even got the ferry to get the Oaxial for you. All you needed was the airship and the canoe. Of course, you would have needed the canoe to get to the airship anyways. Sail upstream. To this game's equivalent, or this game's addition to the cliched idea of something hidden behind a waterfall. So many games have that, whether it's a complete dungeon like in this game, or just a heart piece in Ocarina of Time, Gerudo Canyon, Gerudo Valley rather. Boss Gauntlet in Majora's Mask. Anyway, most of the enemies here should be easy enough to defeat by this point in the game. There is one rare enemy that you might see here that could be a little problem, you know, a little difficult, a little annoying. But that's an extreme rare enemy. In all the years I've been playing this, both the NES and the Game Boy Advance version, seen them like maybe a dozen times. Not like I've been actually keeping track, but yeah, a very rare enemy in this point in the game. Of course, watch, just because I said that, I'm going to see him before I get to the end of this cave. The game's going to be like, oh yeah, rare, huh? Well, here, have some of that rarity. There's the second of the 3 ribbons. Okay, this is the thing that people were saying they saw fall from the sky. And he gives you the warp cube, which you'll need, one of the 2 items you'll need to get to the final elemental dungeon. The reason you had to come here in the first place. Of course, having that second ribbon was good. And this, you know, of course, at least now they call it the Defender. In the original, it's Defense, which always made me think it was an armor piece. Alright, done here. But yeah, again, one rare enemy at this point that you could possibly see in this dungeon. Well, the rare enemy in this cave that I was talking about. these guys. And gas dragons originally. Potentially very powerful gas breath attack. That can be quite deadly, especially if you have a group of 4 that do that. Weak to ice spells, so ice 2. But again, it's very rare that you'll encounter them here. Can happen, but I mean, you'll more likely get battles with all of the other enemies first. Anyways, done here. Back to our airship. And now, in the water dungeon, we got the Rosetta Stone slab. Now we go back to Melmont. That person I mentioned when we were there back in the previous video. Talk to him. Yeah, if only it were that easy to learn a foreign language in real life. I'd be fluent in Japanese right now, so I could play the original versions of all these games and find out how much of what is in the American versions is a mistranslation and how much of it is just fans, saying it is when it isn't. Anyways, now we go back to that town just north of the Power Peninsula and get the key item from that personage. Of course, again, having to park your ship in the middle of nowhere and walking the whole way there. Right? Oh yeah, this dialogue is quite different in this version of the game. Yeah, how do you... I mean, probably saw us flying in it. Nope, the Sid reference was not there originally. since this remake adds elements from so many other Final Fantasy games, Ether Potions, Phoenix Downs, they decided to throw in the Sid gig, even though it wasn't a part of the game until. I just thought I'd point that out because I've referenced this before, and somebody was like, "What are you talking about? It was in the original too." Yeah, in this remake of it, not in the original of the original, or however you want to say that. Yeah. Anyways. Talk to this guy now that we can understand what he's saying. Now we can enter the tower that's in the desert to the west. Oh, yeah? Oh yeah? Really? Wonder where they went. Well, we'll find them soon enough. If this person ever gets out of our way so we can get out of here. Anyways. Head up here. Stay at the end. And if you're playing the NES original with the extreme lack of armor and weapon inventory space, you probably want to sell off what you're not using, what you don't have any need for, to make room for what we'll be finding in the next dungeon. Anyways, park your airship here and walk the rest of the way through the desert. Now that you have the chime, you can actually enter here, but if you haven't been through the waterfall cave to get the warp cube, don't bother. This is going to be a 3-floor dead end. Go do that first, then come back here. Really, dude? Fine, have it your way. Think just because you paralyzed my fighter that we can't defeat you? Haha. Black Knight. Yeah. Not exactly an ultra original creative name either, but it is a step in the right direction from the original NES name of Bad Man. Not Batman as in Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne, no. Bad as in the Michael Jackson song, Bad Man. Yeah. And this sprite look-alike advancement later in the game was originally called the Evil Man. Yeah. Real inventive with the enemy names. I mean, I don't know how much of that was due to the character limitations of the NES and how much of it was just lack of imagination on their part. Anyways, mechanical enemies. Standard rule of RPG, especially the older ones. lightning spells work great on them. Again, how can you have more than one Medusa? Doesn't that defy the laws of mythology? Speaking of Medusas and petrification, yeah. A shield that negates that. Still the same defense as far as base defense points go, but adds that extra element. So Cloud, the knight, will now no longer ever be petrified again. So we won't be able to, not that that's been a thing, but never again will you be able to get a complete party wipe from petrification. Too bad that wasn't the thing in the Ice Cave, especially in the NES original, where cockatrices were much more likely to petrify. By the way, Chimera. Do take note, Dragon Quest Remake, Dragon Quest developers. That's what a Chimera is supposed to look like. Not the bird wyvern. That's a Chimera. Silly Dragon Quest developers renaming the wyvern into a Chimera even though it looks nothing like it. Silly Dragon Quest developers. They attack in groups now, so we already saw a few minutes ago anyways. It's not just one anymore. But they're still just as easy. There's the stairway to the next floor up. But I'm going to take a little detour. There's some more items I want to get elsewhere on this floor first. Of course, in a game based on Tolkien and other mythology, of course you'd have that item here. Okay, I remember that being stronger than that, but okay. Likewise, I remember that having much more attack points than that, but alright. Of course, note the dialogue there. Casts, yeah, another one of those items. Like the mage staff and the light axe. Which again, more useful in the NES original where you didn't have as much MP to go around. Having items like that. Great way of, figuratively speaking, flipping the middle finger at the developers for their lack of MP. Better than he was doing, but still. Mini boss battle. Well, actually, I guess just boss of the mini dungeon. Ow! Of course, look at the damage difference between the two that have ribbons and the one that does not. Anyways. Of course you will, game. Yeah. Of course, if you don't have it yet, if you haven't been to the waterfall cave yet, then this is as far as you go here. Of course, I didn't pick up on it at the time because the other game didn't exist yet, but about a decade later, the Zelda game Majora's Mask came out for the 3DS. And in it you have the stone tower, which is basically 3 floors, and on top of the tower you have the stone tower temple, the dungeon. I remember playing my way through that and thinking, hey, this is ironically similar to the first Final Fantasy game. I am not saying it was intentionally done that way, but, you know, yeah, just... Anyways, the final of the elemental dungeons. Razor, or Bane, B-A-N-E sword originally that casts the magic spell of the same name. Here's the Scourge spell. In the original, granted it was an isolated chance, but it was still a chance nonetheless we could use this as an item in battle against the boss of this dungeon. 1 round was all it took. Except for I think they removed that slight possibility in this version of the game. So I've been playing this on and off, regularly since 2005. And that has yet to work for me on any playthrough of this version of the game, so yeah. I think they removed the possibility of it working. I mean, you could just say I've been unlucky, but given how many times I've played this version of this game, that's awful damn unlucky. I mean, we're talking far more than just, a handful of times over 15, 16 years. What are you doing here? You were easy enough in the ice cave. Criminy. Okay. Go away. Really? Are you following us? Okay, that's an addition to this game that wasn't there. I don't even think it's some sort that wasn't the original game, just renamed. I think this is just a complete new addition. That wasn't in the original at all, under any name. Alright, there are a couple items, few actually, items I want on this floor. One of which, a new enemy, a stone version of the clay ones we saw in the waterfall cave. A little stronger, but nothing to get worried about her. They don't have any special attacks or anything, at least not that I'm aware of. Yeah, the final ribbon. Again, at least in the main original game. Yes, in the bonus segment of the game there's another ribbon, but yeah, again, that's bonus content, not there originally. But he didn't even have his equipped. I thought I did. Thought I equipped that. Okay, whatever. Oh yeah, I didn't even equip those yet either. Damn, I'm stupid. Holy crap, I'm a moron. I bought those before I even did the sequence to open up the freaking water dungeon. Or heck, I bought those before I even went to the fire dungeon. And I'm just now equipped. Damn, I'm a dunce. Go ahead, laugh. I'm laughing at myself inwardly. Buy those and then forget to equip them for so long. Okay, I don't know why that's there. I already have one of those. And I don't think anyone else can equip that. Nope. Oh well. In case you didn't find the one in the sea, in the water dungeon, I guess. Since it was kind of, well, actually, no, it wasn't really out of the way. I mean, it kind of was, I guess, on that top floor with all those other treasure chests in the water dungeon. Slightly stronger version of the sea one from the water dungeon, but again, nothing special. Just the typical swap palette or palette swap, whatever the technical terminology for that is. Confusion or invisible. Ice too, when used as an item in battle. Again, not so useful in this version of the game with more magic points and either potions. So yeah, probably ain't going to use it as many times in this version of the game, but in the original, again, it was a great figurative way to flip the middle finger to the developers for their cheap design of limiting your magic. Yeah, developers, my middle finger. Yeah. Earth Medusa? What the hell is an Earth Medusa? How is it different than a standard Medusa? Anyways, one more item I want to get here before moving on. Oh yeah, the Death Knight. I mentioned him earlier. Originally he was known as the Evil Man. Yeah. Again, Death Knight ain't exact ultra creative either, but at least it's better than Evil Man. What the heck is this thing? Oh, there was somebody looking for this much earlier in the game. Do I leave now? Well, normally I would, but for this playthrough I'll just do that, make that exchange after I'm done here. person that wants that item has waited this long, he can wait a little longer. Again, normally I'd exit out of here, go make that exchange, get that item, and then come back here, but yeah, not in the mood to really do all that extra backtracking right now, so skip it. Speaking of enemy names, Rakshasa, however you pronounce that. Originally it was Man-Cat, or Cat-Man, one of the two. And again, I'm surprised I can still remember so much about the original version of the game, how long it's been since I've played it. Again, I guess you can chalk that up to how many times I played it back when I still did. Oh, I don't remember seeing these guys here. Yeah, as long as I'm here, what the hell. Not like, you know, it's any further out of the way. What the? Close? Well, at least there's no mages guarding this chest like back in the ice cave. Anyways, before I forget again. 6 point, okay. Why didn't I hit the wrong button? I imagine you could, you know, like looking out of the window of a plane as you're flying overhead. At the center of the ocean. What? And yeah, it really literally is kind of right in the middle between the three other dungeons and the one I'm currently in. Between. Never really noticed that until they showed that visual. Of course, the idea there, that's where the final dungeon is going to be. But don't go warping out of here thinking now that you know where it is, you can get to it yet. No, you still can't. Yeah. Like the first Zelda game, even if you know where level 9 is, you can't get beyond the second room until you've completed the previous 8 first. Wow, look at that. That was the black mage that just did that, or the black wizard now, but still. Yeah, those cat claws really make a difference for his attack power. Suddenly, he's somewhat of a formidable melee fighter. Doesn't have to rely as much on his magic. Which, again, was better in the original. Anyways. There's a combination of different paths you could take to get through this floor. I always just go kind of like a stairway pattern. Up, right, down, right, down. But you can go right twice and down twice. Or... Wait a minute, what am I doing? They're not undead. Of course, I've heard from people that the instruction, or the strategy guide rather, that was sold separately, the screen cap image map of this floor was originally condensed, or was part of it missing. I don't know. I did get a copy of that strategy guide years later as a collectible keepsake. The copy I had the whole floor map, so I don't know, maybe, you know, I got a reprint, updated version. But of course, I no longer have that. lost that years ago. Bought that from some video game store just as an optional, you know, just as an extra collectible. Anyways, this floor, infamously known as Warmech's Bridge, because while it is an isolated chance, it is still a chance nonetheless that you can have an encounter with a Metal Gear inspired walking battle tank called Warmech that could easily end your trip through this dungeon before you get to the boss. So it was always a good idea to stay as fully healed as you possibly could, because you never knew if the random battle you were about to go into was with him or just any of the other enemies on this floor. Anyways, the fourth and final elemental fiend boss. Think so? Okay. Actually, that's... yeah. I mean, at this point in the game, again, most people probably wouldn't have level 8 magic spells yet. Since you had to be, what was it, level 20... yeah, 25 in the original and 42 in this version of the game. But again, you know, I stopped dreading grinding in RPG games by the time I completed the Ice Cave in this game. That was my revelation as to how helpful grinding can be in games of this nature. Again, unfortunately by then I'd already completed the second Dragon Warrior game, and my negative inference on it lasted until just earlier this year when I'm starting to replay it for the channel here. Okay, how come he's still... didn't I equip the ribbon on my red mage? Okay, 275, that ain't too much. Ice 3. Hold on. Okay, we're still doing good as far as hit points go. Don't need to heal up yet. And that restores the last of the 4 crystals. We've now revived all 4 of them. And with it, the entrance to the bonus wind dungeon in that maze of rivers just slightly northeast of the ice cave is the entrance to this. In fact, I showed it on the way to the ice cave last video. Now, alright, different playthrough file, but yeah, War Mech as it was originally called. And I don't know, usually I'm all for the name changes in this game, you know, from Evil Man to Death Knight, from Creep to Gigas Worm. Usually I'm in favor of the enemy name changes in this version of the game, but in this case, I don't know, maybe it's just nostalgia speaking, but I think the original War Mech sounded better. Death Machine just sounds cheap and generic. Anyways. Flare, even though he has his own nuke or flare. Of course, the weapons we're using are going to be different than, because this is from a different playthrough file entirely. Since I don't feel like grinding to try to get a, yeah. I mean, I don't mind grinding, but this is a rather rare occurrence. I mean, today I made this file. For crying out loud, it took me like a half an hour going up and down that narrow little bridge just to get this battle. Fighting numerous of all of the other enemies that are on this floor first. So, yeah. I mean, I probably just got unlucky as it... I have seen playthroughs of this game where they have this right away, or at least it looks like it, either that or some clever editing on the part of the video that the person who recorded the video, just some clever editing on their part to make it look like they got this battle right away. But yeah, look at that. 8,000 experience, more than any other enemy in the entire game, at least the original game. I don't know about some of the enemies in the bonus dungeons of this version of the game. As far as original game enemies go, yeah. But again, grinding for that, you know, you probably fight all of the other enemies on this floor at least a dozen times before you fought him again. So. And plus, at lower levels, that battle can be rather annoying. But yeah, that's War Mech. The start of the super boss idea in Final Fantasy games. And then there's these guys. Yeah, I was just going to say, watch, now I get a battle come after I've used the save file from a different playthrough to show it off, so to speak. Anyway, so much for that. Now I'll get back to our airship, and all that's left is the final dungeon of the game, which, as you would imagine, rightfully so, huge, and is a compilation of enemies from throughout the game up to this point. Something to be ready for. And this, I know I'm harping on the same subject repeatedly, probably to the point of annoyance for anyone watching these videos, but this is where the lack of magic really got to be annoying. You had to have enough magic to go through the entirety of the dungeon and still have enough left for the final boss, since there were no either potions in the original. Yeah, this is where that whole idea really got annoying. Luckily, you had the mage staff for fire through spells, and the Thor's hammer for lightning 2, and black shirt or black robe for ice 2. Just spam the hell out of those. That helped. And for healing, stock up on as many cure, 99 potions and use them for healing. Save your MP for when you really need it. Not that any of that really matters so much in this version of the game. With either potions and anyways, actually, before going to the final dungeon, that's right. Again, normally I do this as soon as I get that adamantite item, before even finishing the rest of the dungeon, but this time I decided not to do that and have to track my way back through there. This guy, when I was here the first time, Said he was looking for this item. And there's more of that silly accent dialogue. Oh, it's a sword. Oh, of course. It's the Master Sword. Well, at least that's what they might as well call it in Zelda. Screw Master Sword. It's basically the Excalibur, the sword in the stone that only the chosen hero can wield. King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table, mythology, Excalibur, Master Sword. Yeah. Of course, they beat around the bush in Zelda and call it the Master Sword rather than the Excalibur, but yeah. Then again, I don't know. I guess, for Zelda purposes, Master Sword does sound better, I guess, thinking better of that statement. Still, it's the same idea. Sword in the stone that only the chosen hero can wield. Or in this case, the chosen knight. And only a knight. But yeah, look at that. Holy crap. Excalibur, second best weapon in the entire game, at least in the original game. Again, bonus dungeons maybe have better weapons, but yeah, that's just that. Bonus dungeons for this version of the game only. As far as original game content goes, there was only one sword better than this one, and that's only found deep within the final dungeon. So, yeah. Anyways, now that I have that and have it equipped, which, by the way, reminds me, speaking of equipment, yeah, I did equip his ribbon. How come he was taking more damage from that thunder attack against Tiamat than the other two were? Huh. Or the other two that have ribbons. Anyways, now for the final dungeon. Of course, earlier, when I was in Lefin, I talked to the people there, some of the people there, and they had said something about centuries ago, they had sent out their 5 bravest warriors and they never returned, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, here they are. Of course, in this version of the game, they say something about having been cursed to bats. I don't think they were that specific in the original. I think it was more like what happened to them. Like they were still trying to figure out what happened to them. But anyways, yeah, just another little plot twist. That really doesn't matter as far as gameplay goes, but anyways, once you've restored all 4 crystals, aka completed the 4 elemental dungeons, "2,000 years." By the way, sorry if I flipped through that dialogue too fast. Old habits. But yeah, time travel back 2,000 years. Okay, to the final dungeon of the game. Now, in the NES original, this warp panel was not there. Once you entered, the only way back out was either with an exit spell or a warp spell on this floor if you had that. Otherwise, once you went in, there was no way out. So, yeah, tell me again how the Bahamut rat tail item side quest is an optional side quest? Yeah, because I'm not seeing it. Enemy exclusive to this final dungeon. One of a few as such. Now here's where the green dragon or gas dragons from the waterfall cave are a much more common enemy. Along with these twerps again. If we haven't seen enough of them in the last dungeon, but oh well. look at that experience. Really, game? 2 steps later? Mini boss. Slightly enhanced version of the eye from the ice cave. Yeah, not by much. Anyways, that was not in the original. They didn't have either potions, let alone advanced either potions. Or I might be at least more highly considering playing the original right now instead of this remake. But that wasn't in the original version of the game either. There were no elixirs. Would have been nice. An item that regained magic points in dungeons would have been divine, but no. In the original, one of these chests was 45,000 and one of them had 65,000. Combined 110,000, which could still be useful at this point in the game if you were still looking to buy some of the level 8 magic spells. But yeah. Anyways, earlier in the game, much earlier, practically at the start of it, we defeated Garland and rescued Princess Sarah, and when she got home, she gave us the loot in gratitude. Now is the point in the game where you finally use that item. And like I said back then, on my first playthrough, by the time I even made it this far, I forgot I even had that item. So I get here and I'm like, how do you open this? And that's another one of the reasons it took me so long to complete the game. You know, before I slowly, looking at my key items and my items list, realizing I had it. Yeah. Wait a minute. What does this do? Oh. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm guessing they gave it to you that early because, again, by the time you get to this point, who would think to go back all the way to the starting castle and talk to somebody there anymore now? But anyways, yeah, and that's the only time you'll ever use it again for the rest of the game, by the way. It serves no more purpose. Its only function is now done. Anyways. Rayos, or Jimera, Jimera in the original, one of the enemies exclusive to this dungeon. At least I think they are. There might have been a very, very rare isolated chance that you could have seen them in the Wind Dungeon or the Mirage Tower, possibly, but I'm pretty sure they're exclusive to this dungeon. Of course, these guys are not. Could have seen them in the ice cave. In fact, I'm sure I did. At least the wolves. I don't remember if I saw the ice gigas there or not. And now we're back to the first floor. Had to go up, use the loot, and then go back down 2 floors. Because of barriers like, well, hold that thought for a moment. Because of barriers like this that you couldn't push out of the way, and even if you could with that one there, you wouldn't, even if they had tried to make like a Zelda-esque block pushing puzzle out of it, with that one there, you could have pushed this one up to where I'm standing, but then that's it. It still would have been a dead end. So yeah. Oh, goody, now there's 4 of them. At least in the ice cave in that room with the ice armor. There was only 2 of them. Of course, by now you have a lot more hit points and ribbons. Their ice spell, that ain't as devastating anymore now as it was back then. And now from here on out, each of the floors going down is supposed to be like a reenactment, recreation of the dungeons. The earth dungeon here, fire, next floor down, water after that, and wind after that, with some of the strongest enemies from each. And spoiler alert, each floor culminates with a rematch from that dungeon's boss, Lich, Merilith, Kraken, and Tiamat. And again, at the risk of drilling into the same subject for the gazillionth time, this is where the lack of magic in the original really got to be a damned annoyance. Having to have enough magic for all this and still for the final boss at the end of it all. Yeah, middle fingers to the developers on that one. And then from what I've heard, they brought that stupid idea back for the Pixel Remaster. What the hell, Squaresoft? Why? And because of that, I don't think I'll ever play the Pixel Remaster, even if it does come to Switch. Or a console that I have. They can stick that Pixel Remaster somewhere special. Spell charges my foot. I mean, if, they actually kept the ether potions from this version of the game in there, I guess it wouldn't be so bad. Somehow I doubt they did that. I mean, what would be the point of going back to the spell charge idea and then still keeping the ether? They want to go back to their cheap design. Why have any quality of life? Be as cheap as they possibly can. And again, yes, I know, a lot of Final Fantasy fans think makes the game more difficult. Yeah, for all the wrong reasons, as I've said before. Anyways, yeah. Now, one step down, then you get to fight Lich again. Of course, now he has more hit points than he did before, and at least one more magic spell attack than he did before. So, yeah. Yeah. Luckily, he couldn't do that in the Earth Cave. That would have, in a lot of playthroughs, that damage would have killed you right there, or at least been really devastating. So yeah, luckily he couldn't do that back then. Now for the fire dungeon floor. Culminating with the rematch with Carrie or Marilyn, depending on the version of the game you're playing. Oh, I mean, not that way. What am I doing? Again, damn, those are some big worms. Holy crap. Really? There are other enemies on this floor, you know. Up there is where the battle with Merilith awaits, so to speak. But before doing that, there is one more item I want to get here on. Yeah, that. Alright, give that to him for a little extra defense, 8 points worth. Damn worms, go away! Really, game? There are other enemies on this floor, you know. Alright. Again, rematch with another major boss, so you want to be as close to full health as possible. Granted, unlike Lich, I don't think she has any more attacks or spells than she did originally, just more hit points than she did before. Really? Even with your weapon upgrade, you're still only doing 32 damage? Wow. White Mage sucks as far as attack goes. Great for healing, which is the main purpose of a White Mage anyway, some could argue successfully and rightfully, but still. You don't need to heal all the time, and when you don't, it would be nice if the White Mage could do more damage in battles. And that... Okay, you could die anytime. Nobody's gonna miss you. Trust me on that. Nobody is gonna miss you. Oh, that's an enemy we didn't see in the water dungeon, although we could have. I think it's one of the rare enemies back then, though, like the green dragons in the waterfall cave. Possible, but not very likely that you'll see them then. Oh, another level up. Okay. We're going too much further east or right, heal up. 1 or 2 more steps in that direction will trigger the fixed rematch with Kraken, the boss of the water dungeon, who I don't think has any more new attacks than he did before, just more hit points than he did back in the water dungeon. Dude, you suck. You know what? do that. That probably does much more damage. Ow! Holy crap. Die for that. Turd. You almost killed Cecil. Anyways, now for the bonus, or not bonus, but the wind floor. The rematch with Tiamat is off in that direction in the upper right there. But before I do that, I want to get an item that's also on this floor. Excuse me. Oh, good God, these guys are back. I forgot about that. Luckily, by the time I got this far, even on my first playthrough, they weren't as annoying as they were back in the ice cave, having grinded several dozen levels. Well, maybe not several dozen, but... Really, game? Sorry, I know that was probably a bit loud. Goodbye, loser. By the way, I saw that earlier. Masmune, however you pronounce Masmune. Weapon that anybody, literally anybody, can use. Now, my mindset on this has always been, the Knight don't really need it. With the Excalibur, he can pretty much one-shot kill anything except for bosses. Red Mage or Red Wizard, pretty much the same way for the most part. Cecil, well, with the Cat Claw, he can do major damage and magic spells anyway, so. But we've already saw how feeble the White Mage, White Wizard's physical attacks are against Kraken earlier, so yeah. I know, a lot of people are going to laugh giving the strongest weapon of the entire game to the White Mage of all people, but look at that attack power difference. And since, like I was saying earlier, he's not always going to be needing to heal party members, and when he doesn't, nice to have him have, do more damage in battles. Now, before you laugh too riotously loud at the idea of giving the strongest weapon of the game to a White Mage, see the results. Yeah, look at that. Much better than what he was doing before, as far as physical damage goes. Come on. Stop thinking you're tough. Oh, wait a minute. We haven't seen these guys yet. The wind equivalent to the water whirlpool. No special attacks, just Alright, now before going any further that way. Asteroid. Flare spell. Why is Red Mage taking more damage than the others than him? What the hell? They all three have ribbons. Okay, haste doesn't seem to work too well on the white mage, white wizard. Seemed to do more damage than he was before. Seemed to do more damage before casting haste or fast on him than he is now since you have. Since I have, whatever. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Alright. Alright. One of the enemies exclusive to this dungeon and one of the rare enemies as well. Took me an eternity to get a battle with this thing, editing the battles. Yeah. In the meantime, yeah. Oh well. Now, healed up. Full MP. No random battles on this floor. Just the end, final boss. End of the game. The Master Evil or whatever. You? What? Wait a minute. You're the final boss? Well, this is going to be easy. Holy crap. He was easy enough at the start of the game. Yeah, I remember you, you wuss. Yeah, even they can't believe it. It's like, huh? He's the... What? Yeah. Well, this is going to be an easy battle. Yeah. Time loop, huh? Yeah, and this is one of the reasons I don't get choked up over video game stories. I mean, it's nice when they have a good story in the game, but half the times they're overly convoluted and confusing and contradictory, and just play the game. Who cares about the story? Yeah. Time loop, huh? I don't know. Bill Murray seemed to want to clobber that poor alarm clock in Groundhog Day. Dude, let's just go. Oh, what the hell are you doing? Okay, I guess this won't be so easy. Yeah. Let's just go. Chaos. Could we have possibly come up with a more stark and generic name for the final boss of the game? Of course, that having been said, in the NES original, he had 2,000 hit points. It was recommended that you be at least level 27 to 30. Here, good luck even making it that far at those levels. And here, 20,000 experience or hit points rather. Yeah. Taking how much he had in the original and multiply it by 10. So, yeah, this is going to be rightfully so, being that he's the final boss of the game. Potentially quite difficult. Not only the increased HP, but he has at least a couple more attacks than he ever did originally. So, yeah, let's do this. Let's end this. Dude, we walked through a volcano for crying out loud. Why are you wasting our time with this? Oh, that actually does. Okay, never mind. Tsunami. Yeah, too bad this doesn't work like it does in Final Fantasy VII, where the boss that used it does like 180 damage to himself and only 40 to you. Like, dude, you keep doing that, you're gonna kill yourself before you kill us. So, but here it doesn't even hit him, so it doesn't do any damage to him. Actually, let's see. How much? Well, first off, okay, we should be good for this round as far as healing goes. In the meantime, see how well Holy does against him, being the final evil. Not too bad. Alright, now, let's not take any undue chances. I mean, granted, I still have a couple Mega Elixirs, but... Ooh, you dirty. Keep doing that. Seems to be working. Flare and Holy, or Nuke and Fade. If you're playing the original. Wow! A whole 8 hit points. Even in the original of 2000, 8 doesn't make much of a difference. But now with 20,000 hit points, holy. Cyclone. What are you trying to send us to Oz? Hey, do we look like Dorothy Gale, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion to you?
Ooh. Take that. Alright. Yeah, I think we're good as far as hit points healing goes. Actually, your magic attacks probably do more than your physical fighting does. Earthquake? Dude, we're already underground. Actually, yeah, we're already underground. Big deal, I can just cast haste again. Okay, it didn't work anyways. Still not dead? And granted, I haven't been adding up all the damage displayed on screen, adding it up to a grand total, but I'd imagine it's close to 20,000 by now. Or I could be way off. Yeah, this is how you make a difficult boss battle in an RPG. Making the boss tough enough to defeat even with a full supply of magic, not by limiting said magic supply. Again, I know I'm back to that subject again, but yeah. The original version of this game is just cheap design, I'm sorry. Okay, you gonna die anytime soon? Too bad they don't have a health meter or something that tells you how much. I mean, in some games they have like the scan or search ability that you can use to tell how much hit points the boss still has left. But I don't think they have such thing in this game, even in this version of it. You just keep pouring it on until it falls, basically put. Or you do whichever happens first, obviously. I don't think there is any way to tell how much hit points a boss or any enemy for that matter has left as you fight it. Not in this game. Alright, let's not take any undue chances here. Since he can pack quite the wall up in physical melee fighting. See what I mean? And that's with all the armor he has. What? He did more damage to Cloud than he did. And Cloud has more armor. Well, anyway, we got him. Game over. A-hole. And, yeah. And of course, they have to wait until every pixel disappears into nothing. And now for the ending, which, you know, in the NES isn't all that elaborate. They try to explain the story, but end up making no sense at all and contradicting themselves. And yeah, prime example of why I don't, like I said before, prime example of why I never got choked up over video game stories. There either wasn't any, or was very minute in the beginning of the game or in the instruction manual, or like this, it makes absolutely no sense, so it's better just play the game and ignore the story anyways. Granted, yes, video game stories have, like anything else in video games, the stories have drastically evolved over the decades, true, but still, again, this is why I never cared for video game stories. Just play the game and ignore the story has always been my outlook. If I want a story, I'll read a book or watch a movie. I mean, again, with emphasis, it's nice when a game has a detailed story, but especially in older games, that was very seldomly the case. The games I spent my teenage years and early 25 years old that I played back then. '80s, early mid-90s. Anyways, good game. Not as good as Part 5 or Part 7 in my opinion, but still better than all of the others with the exception of those two. And some of that may very well be nostalgia. How many times I've played this game, whether it's the NES original or this remake. Probably more than any other game except for the first Dragon Warrior game and the first Zelda game. It has its issues to be sure, like that whole thing with the padding of the Earth Cave, 3 floors in, fight the vampire, get to Star Ruby, walk out, exchange it, get the Earth Rod, then go back to where you fought the vampire. That whole business is bunk padding if there ever was any. Again, it's customary to have that kind of thing, but have the vampire battle be on the first floor, like I said back then. The lack of magic points in the original, but that's been taken care of with this version of the game. So yeah, I mean, if you're truly nostalgic or just want to see the series origin, you can play the original, but I personally couldn't recommend it. Only for the true nostalgia buffs would I even suggest playing the original when this remake exists, or the PSP, which is, from what I understand, basically the same thing, which is slightly enhanced graphics. And again, this goes on forever. I mean, granted, yes, it's the ending of a game. All the work you did to get here should be a little elaborate. Not like games of older than this, like The Legend of Zelda NES. Thanks, Link, you're the hero of Hyrule. And nice to see endings a little more elaborate, but this is just text over the same background. Not exactly an elaborate ending either, so. And the text goes on forever. Blah 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 blah. Yak yak yak. Yeah. Come on already. They try to explain the over-convoluted story and fail miserably at it. Come on. Sometime this year, game. Let's just finish this. Wake me when it's over. Sorry for anyone trying to read this, but this presses my paper. This tries my patience. And now we have the credits for everybody who had even the most minute involvement in developing the game gets their name mentioned, which is good, don't get me wrong, you know. You worked on the game, you deserve some credit for it, but still, just with how many people it takes to make a game these days. Some games end credits are like 5-10 minutes long. Holy crap. It's like put the controller down and go get a drink or something, you know, or go to the bathroom or go, you know, or just turn the power off and turn a different game on. Kazuki Miyamoto, in relation to Shigeru, Zelda, Mario, and Donkey Kong creator? Huh. I'll actually have to look into that. Last name is spelled the same way. I didn't know he had any family that worked in video games. Of course, I never really researched his biography and life story, so I don't know. I only know that he's the creator of Zelda, Mario, and Donkey Kong, the person without whom we wouldn't have those franchises today. Anyways, yeah, see what I mean? I mean, it's nice that they give everybody their due credit for helping make the game. I'm not saying they shouldn't. It's just how many people they have to list here makes this go on forever and ever and ever, or so it seems. Well, next Final Fantasy game. I mean, I wanted to do 7, but I'm having recording, capturing issues with that one. So until I can get that sorted out, I'm not going to be able to do Final Fantasy 7. That's why I'm doing it, why I did this one now. And we'll probably do Final Fantasy 5, the Game Boy Advance remake of that game, next. As far as Final Fantasy games go, anyways. Now, in the original version of the game, when they said the end, they really meant it. You could push all the buttons on your controller you wanted and it wouldn't do anything. But in this version of the game, yeah, save your game data. Of course, the only purpose to that, other than maybe for the bonus dungeons, be more highly leveled up. Load that save file you just made. Alright, I'm just gonna go with any party. I'm not actually gonna do this right now, but just for demonstration only. Loading the completed game save file. Yeah, kind of stupid. You still start off at level 1. The only purpose to this that I can tell is that the final boss now shows up in the bestiary. And yeah, see, you might have thought I was joking when I said he had 20,000 hit points. Nope. But yeah, just, you know, so that he shows up in the bestiary for those who actually want to 100% it. Which again, I might have been more eager to do had it not been for all of these exclusive to the bonus dungeons only enemies. Anyways, yeah, that's about it for this game. See you next time for Final Fantasy V. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.